What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Drive. I'm your host, Paul C. Brunson, and guess what? Today we have a very special guest. Now, in just 6 years, she's built a business worth over $500 million. Let me repeat that. 6 years, $500 million business. Can't wait to talk to her. We have the founder and executive chairman of ClassPass, Payal Kadakia. Pooji, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, $500 million, 6 years, we're going to get into that.
Yes.
But here's where I want to begin. Can you give us a snapshot of ClassPass? So roughly how big, what services do you provide, and if you could tell us a little bit about revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. So ClassPass is a monthly fitness membership program. It lets you take classes at different studios and gyms in your local area. We're in over 50 cities globally. We've crossed 50 million reservations, and we've raised over $150 million in capital.
Okay, not bad, not bad. All right, so passion.
Yep.
I want to dig deep on passion because when I read your story, I see that it was really dance that gave birth to ClassPass.
Yep.
And I think it's fascinating because you followed your passion, not created your passion, and I think there's a difference there.
Yeah.
So how do we find the passion?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about a look inside yourself, right? And I think with the world moving so fast and, you know, we're always sort of taken aback by technology and everything going on the exterior, you have to actually look to yourself and find time inwards. And I think whether, you know, it's getting the courage to go and try something you've never done or putting yourself in a different setting, you know, our bodies and minds are capable of so much. And sometimes we are our own critics, right? And we're the ones who keep us back. And actually, one of my favorite things about what ClassPass has done for people is it helps them get over this barrier to walk into a new class or a new studio, something they've never done before. And then you realize, oh my God, I'm capable of doing this. Let me go and try something new. And that process, I think if you're really having a conversation with yourself, you realize, oh my God, I really love this. And passion goes so deep. It's your why, right? It is your purpose in life. And we all have a different purpose. And that's what makes us unique. It's not someone else's purpose. It's our own. And when you have that connection to something, you have to stick with it in your life.
Did you hear that? That wasn't just business advice. It's life advice. Don't hide what makes you unique. Instead, put a spotlight on it. Because where you're different, that's your superpower. How important is environment, and what can we do to create a successful environment as entrepreneurs?
It's such a great question. And look, everyone has different means. And I think obviously, like, you know, people, I always encourage getting a great education. Education was such an important thing for my family when I was younger. You know, I was so self-disciplined that when I went to college, I would not let myself dance unless I did well in school. You know, I got to that point where I just knew I had to be smart. You know, like there was no other path instead of getting a good education. And I think education is so important. It's, you know, one of the things that gives you a basis for the rest of your life. And then the next thing is the people you surround yourself with. And I think it's so important to make sure you are around people you look up to, right? And that will help you through challenges. And I think for an entrepreneur, even today, I still have that group of people, you know, my personal board of directors, you know, and they're always guiding me. And it's the people you surround yourself with that are going to actually determine who you end up being. And that is a choice. I think many times people think, oh, well, like, you know, I am hanging out with these people. You can always change the people you hang out with. I know that sounds kind of rude to say, but you really can. You know, it's a choice that you make. And then the other thing is goes back to like whatever you enjoy doing in life, don't let go of that. Even if you can spend 5 to 10 minutes doing it in your life, I think we get busy, we think we have to do these other things, and we sometimes give up some of the things that are going to center you and make you feel the most alive. And if I had stopped dancing, there's no way I would be the person I am today. And there were so many times in my life where, you know, I should be studying, should be doing X, Y, and Z. And, you know, someone would be like, why are you going, it's Saturday, like, why are you going to dance? It's like 8 in the morning, like, aren't you tired? I'm like, no, I have to go to rehearsal. You know, you just have to force it into your life. And I think that discipline also grounds you. And so I think having something, you know, when you're younger, especially from like an activity, right, to just learning that discipline in something makes you realize, wow, if I put my mind to doing something, I can get through it. And sometimes actually thinking about something too big is a little scary. And so it's all about taking those little steps. And then you just realize, you know, it gets easier and easier, and you can one day then quit your job and build something big, you know?
Right.
But it really, it's that ammunition and that confidence that you build over time.
You just said something that's blowing my mind right now. You talked about a personal board of directors. So who should we have on that personal board, and then how do we get them?
Yeah. Well, just as companies have directors, right, in their businesses and companies guiding them, I think as human beings, we need to constantly be pushing ourselves. I never want to stagnate as a human being, and I think you have to have people who are going to keep you on your toes. So these aren't people who are just going to say yes to everything. They're going to say, even, when you feel successful, I mean, at some point, I believe, like, success is not an endpoint, it's a journey, right, as, like, a human being, and you should always be hungry for more, and these people, keep you hungry. They will, they'll keep you honest, and at the same time, they help you when you're going through something or a challenge and give you sort of advice on here's how you get through things.
Stop hanging around toxic people. Stop hanging around people who don't challenge you. Stop hanging around fools. Why? Your success depends on it. But many of us will run against a roadblock and then just stop and just give up. So how did you know that you would keep going and keep going and keep going?
I think when you hit those roadblocks, I think sometimes people think of it as failure. I've never, ever thought about any of those iterations and, product moments that we have had as failure. I think they were just data points for me to figure out what direction to go. Find a mission and something you want to solve in the world that you're willing to go to the grave with. And I say that because if you're not really in it, believe me, when stuff gets tough, you're not going to be able to fight through it, right? When those hard days come, if you're not really, really, oh my God, I have to figure this out for the world. And I, have been, like I said, I feel like I was meant for this mission since I was 3 years old. It was the way I was always, when I got older, I just had the tools for my education and my network to be able to actually make it happen. And I think that is the critical thing, is it's something that I just knew until I got it, I wasn't going to stop. And so just make sure whatever you're working on has that feel to it.
Think about the themes that you most enjoyed talking and learning about in your entire life. Whatever those are, do your best to align your work around it. Because if your job doesn't light you up, you'll never change the world doing it. You haven't written a book yet, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so when you write your book,
yeah.
I believe that the secret ingredient to your success that you're going to outline, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, right? The secret ingredient to Payal Kadakia Puji is that you have compelled people, you've convinced them to bet on you, not necessarily your ideas. You also talked about making sure that you let people see your magic, let people see your light.
Yep.
How do we do that?
Yeah.
Because I think it begins with knowing that you even have light.
Yeah.
Knowing that you even have magic. But once you know that you have something special,
Absolutely.
How do you get the world to see that?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I completely agree. The first thing is find that light, right? And that's, to me, I think the first battle everyone has to sort of face in their life. And once you get through that, you're on this other side. But now it's, what do you do with it? I think one of the most important things, and I learned this when I was really younger, is always do good work, no matter what you're doing. And I have, whether it was, side projects I've done for somebody, or, we always have our jobs and someone will ask us, hey, can you help me with an event? Or can you help me with this project? I think what I have learned in my life is I will always do 150%. And that has carried me through, you were saying people, they do. I know that they believe in me. And it's because when they look back at anything I've done, whenever I've said yes to doing something, I've done a good job and I've put my entire heart and soul into it. And if I wasn't going to be able to, I would say no. And I think that is such an important thing to do whenever you say yes to something, is do a good job, or don't do it at all.
Just think for a moment, if you only did your best. It would mean two things. One, you would say yes to fewer projects, but two, you would make a much bigger impact overall. What's the best advice you'd give an entrepreneur?
To give an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Just get started. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Most people will be like, I don't know how to start a company, or what should I do? Just get started.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we are, once again, standing in our own way sometimes. But I realized if I didn't get started, I would have never started the momentum. And it's better to fail than, like I said, not do anything.
Yeah. When I think about you, right, and all the research that I did leading into this interview and sitting down with you, talking to you, you're one of the most, I think, persistent, consistent, and passionate people that I have ever met.
Why, thank you.
And I truly,
Yeah.
and I will say this, is that when I think about you now, when
Yeah.
you pop up, when I see that book that
Yeah.
you write, I'm going to think of just do it,
Yeah.
but when you do it right.
Do it right.
Or
Don't do it at all.
don't do it at all. Payal, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an honor to sit across from you and talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.